So this is all that's in there. And as you see, there's quite a lot of parts. And if I wouldn't have lined them up this way, it would have been impossible to put them back all together. Now I'm just gonna clean them up, and I use WD-40. Why? Well, Water Displacement Formula 40, NASA development. It actually takes off all the water and it leaves a little bit of an oily layer after it, but that doesn't matter, because what we're going to do is on the places where we need grease, we just put grease there, and this works as a cleaning agent. So I'll just start, and then I will wipe off all the extra or excess with plain paper. You can see all the stuff that came off there. That was in the housing. So that's it. Now this part is clean. I should say that if you get lost on all these parts, there are actually online, this is for a different reel, but there are exploded charts like this that you can use to trace where you've been. Don't drop this little piece. This is what's guiding your axis, your spool axis, into this, which goes to your pinion gear. Since the bearings are running smooth and they're lubricated inside and they're shielded, I won't put any WD-40 on these bearings. It's not necessary to dissolve any possible oil which is inside these bearings at this stage. You can actually test them, how they're running, and they're running perfectly fine. So this bearing was sitting right in there. Then I'll put a little drop. Next part in the reassembly will be to place this one back. We're just going to grease it. This is where the spool axle is running inside, but we put the grease on here also to keep it in position. As you see now, it used to be sitting, it has a cutout over there, and it used to be sitting right over that cutout over there. I'm not sure if you can see that. There you see it. So there we go. Now we just need to push it in place, and it's going to stay in place because of the grease that I put on there. Now we can take the next one, and this one needs to go in with the grooves in this direction while you're holding this part out like this. But we're going to fill the grooves first with grease for the pinion gear. There we go. You shouldn't add an extreme excess, which it may look like I'm doing right now, but you don't need to be afraid that you're actually adding a little bit too much, because it's actually preventing your... It's better to have grease in your reel than having water in your reel, and the grease is repelling the water to some extent. So if it comes grease out from some of the plates that are sealing your reel, it's better than it's coming water in the other way around into your reel. So well, not an extreme excess, but a little excess is not too bad. There you can see that part. Now we're placing that one in the right direction, and it goes in like this, in that little groove down there. You can see that I just placed it back there. This one is now perfectly clean, and we're filling all the grooves with new fresh grease. This little shim that goes on the end of this, that's where it should be sitting. Now we can take this entire little piece and put it back in its spot, which is right in there where it's attaching with the plastic little thing that we put back in there. And to line it up, we have this little thing that goes back on top there. And on the other side, we have this one put a little bit of grease on that one, which is the connector between them. This one, which is moving with your pinion gear, rotating. So now we have these two axes that needs to go back in, which will line up this part. That's the top hole there, and all the way in there. Now it's closed, and here's the bottom one, goes into this one. And now we can lock this entire piece here by placing back the back plate. Put that one in position. And there we go. So that's it. Now this part is clean as well. The narrow side of this one goes down towards the bearing, and then the shim goes on top of everything. So now I'm just gonna attach this little distance. Most of it goes on the inside, whilst one part goes on the outside. There it all comes together. Now remember that we have 3 different screws here. One with the socket on it that goes on the bottom, and the other ones are just regular ones. Never use any excess force when screwing this together. When you feel it takes a stop, then you stop. Maybe a quarter of a turn on the maximum after you feel some resistance. So I can show you here. There I feel it. That's how much, quarter of a turn. Because you don't want to blow your threads. You can see all the stuff that came off with the old grease. It just slides back on there. This one should be flat against this surface. So you got to watch that this one is not coming out. So that's how it should look. Forgot to show you that, but that little nut is still sitting in there. Don't drop that nut, because then you won't be able to fasten the back plate again. The back plate goes in like this on top, and there you see. You can see that little cut there goes there. Open it, put it right in. just want to show you here. If you block the rotor and then you try to wind the reel, if there's a gap here, a play, then that means that this nut has not been locked down properly. So when you have the rotor blocked, there shouldn't be much of a gap here. So you can see I have no gap at all here now. But if I would loosen this nut, then I will get a gap here and I will get a play which shouldn't be there. So the amount of force you tighten this nut will decide how much play you have. So you can see I can start feeling the resistance there, and I put it a little bit tighter, this much. And now in there should go the locking screw. This is the only thing you need to think about when you reassemble your reel, that this nut is determining the amount of play you have in your winding mechanism. And most of us want very little play there. So now we just need to get these shims back in place and we are all done. And you don't want to break these shims when you put them on. So you can see here, pushing them on with my fingers, all of them at the same time so that they support each other. But you need them to level the spool on the right level in relation to the rotor. There you go. And they're all in place now. Now we can put the spool back on there. This one is reasonably clean. And that's it. So now this reel is completely serviced. And it's lubricated as if it was new. And there's no play in the handle, as you can see here, because we tightened the lock nut properly. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope this will help you servicing your own fishing reels in the future.